clearly and concisely. And once you learn how to do that, then you can bring in all the stakeholders and you can get into programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast, and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got Startup on the Blocks. So I need you to start coming to Startup on the Blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the lean startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of like that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing, all the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America, we do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally. And we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about and language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow, send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Startup on the Blocks. Glad to be here for another Thursday. We have an exciting guest coming on here in a few minutes. We'll kind of get started while she comes back on stage there. We're still in January and the year is off to a good start, and we got some great things planned for you all this year. So please stay tuned and look, and we look forward to actually doing more to support the startup community. We like working with founders, and so we're gonna keep doing whatever we can to support them. So we appreciate you listening in and tuning into our weekly best practice for startups. All righty, let's get started with our sponsors. Can't shout out enough, for like Florida Power and Light, Blacks in Technology Foundation, Startup Science. We use the leanstack.com platform, all the banks that support us, the First, the Renaissance Bank, Industry Hotel. We've been sponsoring a lot of our pitch competitions. So we're really excited about the support. And if you know somebody that wants to help out, we definitely want to get them here too as well. Bisa, if you're ready, Bisa, if you're ready, just come on here. We're ready for you.
Hello, everyone.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah. Great. I appreciate you coming on. We're just doing a little shout out to our sponsors to kind of make sure we let them know we appreciate them.
Always appreciate the sponsors.
Yes, and so a lot of the reason why we do what we do is we want to make sure Black founders and all founders have the knowledge to actually know the best practices for building a startup, because that's how you can create wealth through innovation.
Yes, I agree.
All right, fantastic. So last year was a busy year. We have a team of about 10 mentors, and wow, without them, we couldn't have had all these events and all those workshops. And man, it was really demanding, but we had fun doing it. We learned a lot, and so we supported a bunch of founders trying to teach them the best practices for building a startup. So this year is going to be even better and greater. We're going to leverage some more tools to sort of support the founders. But I'm really excited about in April, we're going to have a Black Founder Innovations Summit. And so mark your calendars for that. We're going to be part of the tour that the Black Innovation Leaders of Florida are going to come up here to Pensacola and Northwest Florida, kind of move things forward. So we're definitely looking forward
to that. And we're also going to be offering our founders free market research reports. And so whatever area they're in, we want to be able to support them on that. So why don't you take a minute or two to introduce yourself?
Yes, one moment. Okay. Hi, my name is Bisa Peterson. My background is primarily in biotechnology, IoT, and artificial intelligence. I got my start, I would say, in technology at the University of Southern Miss, as well as NASA. I was a part of the SOLAR program. I was tutored and mentored by Dr. Kin Mung Mong in physics and I kid you not, weaponry technology. And
Oh,
and the reason why is because at a very young age, I took an interest in it's a show. It was a movie, Iron Man. And
oh wow, I didn't know that.
yeah, and there was the beginning of it. Tony Stark shows something called Jericho, and it was a missile. And I wondered if it existed. So I looked into it, and of course, they had fake mock ups online and stuff.
Yes.
But it still gave me somewhat of a reality impression. Like, is this possible to bring to fruition? I mean, there are missiles on Earth. So maybe this is something I could create at a smaller scale. But imagine thinking that at 12 years old. My parents just was like, "Oh, there's your imagination," but they supported me because prior to that, I was, coding in my spare time. I had did part-time work with a company called PC Planet Corporation, coding Air Force simulation and banking software, and I was only 12. So
you got to be, yeah. So that's pretty
yeah,
pretty neat at that early age. And so
I was obsessed with tech.
yeah. So let me let's what I want to do first before we get into your story, and I'll make sure I pick up where you left off, because that sounded really exciting. Can't wait to get to the rest of that story. But let me make sure the audience know a little bit about what we're doing, and then we'll get back. So at least you gave them a little taste, so they'll be excited when we get back to it.
Yeah, hype them up.
Yeah. So next week we're going to have Caroline Arzal, and so she's going to talk a lot about how their company can help you all with SBIRs and stuff like that, and doing research to know who all your competition is, and knowing what the market is for what you're doing, and so they've created an incredible product that even matchmaking you with folks. So we're looking forward to having her on next week. I see a few people showing up in the audience. Ron, Carmen. So that's how we met, through Carmen, right? I always like to help people understand it's just a matter of connection. You end up meeting interesting people and exciting people. So we're glad to have folks pop in here, and get your questions ready, and feel free to interrupt at any time and ask questions, and we'll put your questions up on the screen. So what we want to do with our programs is we want to guide the founders through these steps. And this is just one view of the steps from Startup Commons. And so, way back at the idea stage, all the way to growth and exit. So that's one view. And we use this particular Lean Stack roadmap to kind of help folks understand the phases you go through using the Lean Startup methodology. And the first one is, of course, business model design. You design your business model before you go out building something, and you learn how to pitch it clearly and concisely, and you get the help you need. We've started a program for the cover the orange part there. That's that's what we do. Help the founders learn the demand generation. It's the validation framework. So we're excited that we got that going on for the founders as well. And then the last one we use is the startup science, and this is the kind of roadmap for that. You got your vision, your product, your go-to market, you standardize all your processes, you optimize your stuff, and you get money and grow. So that's just the kind of, so when you become a founder, these are just some of the approaches you do. And then, but you have to get your mindset, in the right mindset, and one of the things that we do, and this is one of the biggest challenges founders have, is understanding the founder's mindset, and then developing the skills and best practices so you can unlock the resources in the ecosystem. So we're saying you're at a certain point, and we want to make sure you got the skills and best practices to leverage the resources in the ecosystem. And there are so many resources, and it's really, really neat. And what I tell people, no matter which stage you're at on these charts, whether you're at the idea stage, there's some resources out in the ecosystem that can help you get to the next stage. And that's the big idea of what everything is all about. So this is the last slide I'll show, and we'll get back. So in the business model design playbook, basically it's a way that you can, whatever idea you have, you can develop a business model for it, and you can put everything that's in your head on a canvas, and then break it out into variants. And on each of the variants, you take them through this desirability test, the viability test, and a feasibility test, and then create your business model story pitch. And we go through that in 30 days, but you can literally do this on a weekend, so it's not that big a deal, and to kind of get there and kind of move forward with it. So that's a lot, but I just wanted to make sure I share that with you all. So what do you think, Bisa?
I absolutely love the business model. I agree with it, especially the lean stack approach.
Yeah.
I am a fan of the lean canvas. I use it for every new brand or company that I start, or when I'm consulting with other people. You definitely need to define your problem and solution, and not the problem you think, but learn the problem from other people. You
Yes.
got to make sure it's an actual problem. Too many people that start startups see it from their perspective versus the person that's going to be buying it. And then you start defining your solution around it. It's definitely great to come with the concept and an idea, because everything starts with an idea. With me,
Yeah.
I take idea to concept to MVP to test. Notice I said test and not commercialization, because you don't want to put in capital until you know that A, it works, say it's a product, for instance, B, people want it, and C, there's a return on investment, because you're going to need capital unless you're Elon Musk. So you want to make sure you have all your ducks in a row before going public as well. You want to be successful, and that is the goal with starting a startup. Of course, there's risk, and that's another thing you need to be aware of. There is always risk as you are creating it, and risk once it's created, risk never goes away. So that actually should be a part of your canvas, risk, because that is what an investor is looking at, and that is what your customer is looking at before becoming a customer. They're going to look at reviews and all that good stuff. So these are important little tidbits to follow.
Yes.
And it will help me to be successful and help other people to be successful.
Yes. So let's go back to this Iron Man story you were talking about. So how old were you when you saw Iron Man?
I was a teenager. I can't exactly think of the exact age. Maybe I was 14 or 15.
Okay.
but I was already a bit of a advocate for physics and science and sci-fi stuff at 12.
Yeah,
And
let's back up. So what got you into all that stuff in middle school?
in general, oh, this is easy. When I was 4 years old, my mother
Okay.
introduced something called it was the Gates program, where they had all these software, and it was about like in Carter 55. I don't know if anyone remembers this, but it was history, mathematics, computer science, and it was K through 12. It was a course, and
Okay.
it was given to the public if you signed up for the Gates initiative at the time.
Okay.
And my mother signed up and bought a Gates computer. And her name is Dolores, by the way. I want to leave that out. And she's a big entrepreneur as well. Is also, I want to state this: it's very important to have supportive people in your life, and to have people who were entrepreneurs in your life. You want to surround yourself with people who have been on that journey to advise you on that journey.
Yeah.
So
So what was it about your mother that made her think that was a good thing to take advantage of that Gates program?
my mother did data entry, and
Okay.
she also studied computer science as well. But
Okay.
way back in like the 70s and 80s, like the very beginning, the highlight. And
Okay.
she was like, I believe computers and technology is the future. I think
Okay.
that's where the world is going. And I
Yes.
want you to be at the forefront. I mean, I was a little kid, but that was like my process. I definitely showed some high level of intelligence at a very young age, reading
Okay.
early, writing early. So, she gave me the opportunity. So I
Fantastic.
studied this course, and I became just very interested in computers, creating IRLs and SQLs, and just, MIRC. I don't know if you guys remember that, where you make your own server, and just, making different software myself on the computer. And I'm a little kid doing this. And I started communicating with other students through the student ambassador program. It was called People to People Student Ambassador. And I
Okay.
did that. It was a program supported by the Dwight D. Eisenhower Foundation.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So that's how I got in contact with Marco Lettieri. And, he saw my abilities with the computer, and he was like, I'm a young kid that, works on a lot of stuff. I was wondering, would you like to help me? And would you like to be a part of this? So he let me code with him with Cambridge University, Takeo. And like I said, PC Planet Corporation is a company that he started up with one of his partners. Francesco was his name. I can't remember his last name. So, I work with them, and that's when I think maybe, like I said, I did a lot of coding on the computer, and I was a huge fan of Einstein and
Hmm.
Steve Jobs and all these types of people. And I wanted to know what they knew.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
studied Steve Jobs' business model of replicating technology and adding new innovations, per the tech. And
Okay.
then I studied physics, nuclear physics, regular physics, astrophysics. I prefer astrophysics.
Okay.
Much more fun. And yeah, I saw that movie, and I combined what I knew from physics and my computer skills, and I start designing weapons. I'm just gonna be honest. But I didn't know that was like strange or advanced or anything like
Okay.
that. I was just a teenager, curious
Yeah.
to learn. and
Yeah.
it starts there. To become an entrepreneur, a successful one, you got to be curious. You got to stay hungry, as Steve Jobs says.
Yes.
I geek out over quantum and astrophysics. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, Tony. And your name is Tony. How funny. So yeah, so it went from there, and I learned that NASA was obviously the masters in space science, and smart people, were a part of NASA, astronauts and asteroids, all these people. So I was like, my dream of working at NASA. I was that kid. I was always obsessed with space.
Mhm.
So I sent them my designs. I took 26 um, blueprints and writings, and I sent it in.
Okay.
Online, I just found like a NASA email, I think, you contact NASA, and I sent it. And then I knew that I needed polymer materials because there was nothing like what I wanted to create. So I
Mhm.
found this company called Noetic Technologies. And I
Okay.
also sent my designs to them, and they were associated with NASA.
Okay.
So Noetic Technologies reached back out. I didn't hear from NASA until after the fact.
Okay.
And they were like, these are some really incredible designs and research. They told my mother, they didn't, reach out to me.
Okay.
Bisa's very promising. She would, be a great intern. However, she's underage. So you know what I did?
What?
I decided to just give my all to academia. I was a really good student, but I went from a 3.8 to a 3.9 by 8th grade to a 4.0 in the 10th grade. And then by I think the 11th grade, I had a 4.5. I was determined to get out of school as soon as possible so I could be a NASA intern. And
Okay.
I stayed in touch with Noetic Technologies. One of the ladies was Kelly Booth. She was the woman that took interest in me and mentored me. And yeah, I got a offer to go to the University of Southern Miss because they had a program with NASA, and one of the chair of the physics department, Dr. Ken Mong Mong, worked at NASA, and he was just a really high figure there. And
Mhm.
he knew about the things I wanted to create, and the real stuff, not not what I had in concept, but he
Okay.
could possibly bring it into fruition. So
Mhm.
I ended up being accepted and receiving several scholarships for physics. And at 17, I was a student. That's
Okay.
as quick as I could get out. They wouldn't let me out at 16.
Okay.
Alabama is strict. They want to make sure you're well prepared. And I was taking AP classes in many subjects, physics, Italian too, whatever I could to get out
Yes.
early.
Yes.
So yeah, from there I ended up working on like satellites and studying solar, and they didn't let me pursue my ideas at first. I just did like the regular, program where you
Yes.
learn what they want you to learn.
Gotcha.
However, my professor was amazing, and he let me design my work on AutoCAD. He set me up with the architect.
Okay.
Was Walter Eskridge, to be exact. He's incredible. And
Mhm.
he taught me AutoCAD and Inventors and SolidWorks and all this stuff outside of my day-to-day classes. So I would
Yes.
go to class, I would work with Walter, I would be tutored by Dr. Mung and Dr. Vera, and then I would go to NASA on certain days
Okay.
with Dr. Mung.
Okay.
And shortly, I would say the end of my freshman year, I was introduced to a soldier. I won't say his name for military purposes. I
Mhm.
don't want to get anybody in trouble. So he worked with me. He was a master gunsman. I will say that much.
Okay.
And I will say between this gentleman, my professors, my independent research work
Okay.
and my colleagues. I managed the roamer. That's what I called it. Now the military calls it exacto. But
Okay.
I won't go into detail of what happened after that because it's personal. I don't want to share it. However,
Mhm.
I will say I continued uh, contract work in dealing with weapons. I ended up with Black Forge weapons, designing them, and then Jaeger Pro on an experimental project to eradicate feral hogs in the south and southeast.
Okay.
That was an incredible period in my life. I enjoyed researching ways. Some of them were unethical, so I didn't get to pursue them. But we ended up coming up with a trapping system and
Hmm.
a sound system to deter them away from people properties.
Okay. Good. Good.
I fell in love with ag tech during this process and also biology. I
Okay.
also learned about the devastation a weapon can have. I grew up, so I learned about weapons, and
Yes.
I decided to step away from weaponry technology, defense in general.
Yes. Yes.
And I switched everything to biotechnology, 3D printing. You know, that was the new thing, and manufacturing, and that's what I did. The additive manufacturing, and I did pre-surgical models in this is like years of contract work and also my own company. I ended up um, founding IKT Foodtronics to create a hyperspectral imaging system for phytosciences, and it was to detect mold, bacteria, and mildew. There was a drone company involved that assisted me with this development. I did the
Yes.
concept design, I did the physical build, I made the connections with the camera companies, the lens companies. I put it all together by hand. I am a hands-on leader. I believe in that. I like to be in the mix. And from there, I like I said, I founded Microtron 3D, and I continued building products for people. And then, but only 3D printed products, and then later additive manufacture, which is a bit more, I would say, long lasting because you're using
Yeah.
like steel and you're CNC milling and all this stuff. So
Yeah.
after the 3D printing industry, I went into wearables and biotech, and I founded Microtron Incorporated, and that's what I am CEO of now. And
Hmm.
I focus on developing wearables. And when I say wearables, I don't just like develop a smartwatch. I work towards creating advanced sensors in collaboration with universities like Georgia Tech, Georgia State. These are some I work with. In the past, I worked with UC San Diego School of Engineering for smart tags, thermoelectric sensors. I did not want to use like a heating and cooling material for the Hero Collection. So I reach out to universities when I want something to be advanced.
Okay. That sounds
Um,
good.
and I help them with the commercialization process as well.
Yeah. So like, so it sounds like your college thing um, kind of played a big role in you getting connected to people and learning
Yes.
and getting access to tools and stuff like that. So the University of Southern Mississippi, so it's is it more like a hands-on type school?
The professors are like
Okay.
if you come to a professor at USM and you say, "Hey, I have this idea I'm passionate about," you have some knowledge about that idea, not just, "Oh, professor, I thought of this yesterday," but you come with some research and you're passionate about and eager to learn and humble.
Yes.
They'll take interest in you. and they will work with you. They will introduce you to scholarships, programs, and government connections for your dreams to come to life. Now understand, there you must make the proper legal decisions as you work with the university, but they will support you to become the person you want to become and to have the business that you're seeking to have.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. So I don't know if that's pretty common with a bunch of universities, but that sounds like a really good opportunity for you. So and all of these opportunities, so so did the did the folks try to take advantage of your expertise and not compensate you, or did they compensate you for all the stuff that you were doing?
Sometimes they would try to take advantage. I would definitely say in my younger years,
Yes.
I would say when I was a part of accelerators, they would try to take more of a equity in me.
Hmm.
Like this is not a joke, but once I was presented with a contract that said 10% everything Bisa Peterson for 10 years, everything I create.
You gotta be kidding.
I'm not joking. And I was about 23 when this happened, and I obviously I declined, and they took back my MacBook computer. Never forget that. But yeah, I have experienced, people trying to take advantage or work with me and try to sell my work to other companies or
Yeah.
people, or just general join my business and then try to take what they learn um
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
elsewhere. So yeah, I definitely
That
experienced that.
that's actually pretty common. So like from a founder, you definitely you have to be careful because you deal with companies who have a problem they're trying to solve, and so I think you said your background was in physics, so you know how to design experiments to solve problems, and that's 80-90% of the work is coming up with an approach. And
Right.
so, yeah, so if you give them your approach, they're gonna say bye bye. We can figure it out from here.
Exactly. I started having a good legal team. I
Okay.
started having mentors and people a part of my company with some experience, and that had my best interests at heart prior, and didn't even know my work. I made
Mhm.
sure my next set of teams and collaboration was that way. Also, um, I experienced that, taking advantage situation when I want to say older people like are the best people to work with, but a lot of the times I experienced people who had more experience than me, attempting to control or take over too. So you have to
Yeah,
look out for that as well. Like everyone you consult as a mentor may not be mentoring.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, you definitely always have to look for that conflict of, of interest there. Looks like Tony has a question here. Yeah.
Okay, I will look into it. Could you make an intro, Mr. Tony Jefferson? Thank you for the comment. I'll take a look at that in my spare time.
Okay. Yeah. That's, yeah. Yeah. When you have expertise and know how to do stuff and got that good foundation like you have, yeah. So that's you know the folks will definitely bring you on to kind of learn your processes.
Yes, yes, yes. Now I have created a consulting arm where no, I have not, where I am willing to share these models at a price. you know, like like I said, I'm growing up. I'm 30 now. For those of you who are wondering, like, how old am I doing all this stuff? Well, I'm 30, and I am learning that these are models. These are working models, and I've applied these models in the United States, Canada, Caribbean. I've literally worked towards creating universal models to get people businesses and products and services into operation. And I do it from ideation stage all the way up to commercialization. I'll walk with you, and then I will also step away when I feel yes, 30.
Yeah.
When I feel that you're ready to be free. And you can call me for advisement later.
Yeah. So I guess you got calm and all psyched up there.
I see. I'm happy to hear it.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, and I guess earlier Ron was asking about, did you know Lonnie Johnson? But you said no, I believe.
No, tell me about who is that?
Yeah.
What do you like about Turbo Innovate? I was actually thinking about it today. I like the fact this is something that's so bothersome for me, and is actually in my slides. When I look up an idea for a client, like as far as a product, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
I have to search through, the patents through Google and find things that are similar to this person's idea. That
Mm-hmm.
is a pain. That is so time consuming. And then also when I'm coming up with new ideas, and I got to make sure I'm not infringing on someone else's property, you can make the mistake and miss something and find out later that you have, you know, committed a crime and didn't mean to. So I feel like the Turbo Innovate tool will help inventors and entrepreneurs, founders to avoid that mistake. Something else I love, when you create a business or product or service, you look for resources from the government, from universities, from VCs, from accelerators, incubators, and that tool pulls this information. It pulls from all different categories, and I think that's helpful. And something I love, because I do not like doing it, I type and I write a lot. When I research, I'm pulling that information. This slows down the amount of time I have to apply to researching. All I have to do is type in my question or idea, and it pulls that data. I love that. It is
Yeah.
by far the most helpful tool that I've used in a very long time, and I will more than likely use it for everything I invent moving forward. And last but not least, the market research aspect of Turbo Innovate. I get 100 emails saying that they have a market research report for sale in manufacturing, 3D printing, whatever, and they are astronomically high. And you have to have them for investors. You have to have them to understand your market. So a tool that also pulls this information without you having to have a third party is amazing. So that's
Yeah.
my analysis of Turbo Innovate, and I hope
Yeah.
that.
So yeah. So Caroline will be on next week, and so she'll share a lot of that information to kind of help people move along, and that's and also yeah. So connecting with all the experts and stuff, that's really fantastic. So so audience, feel free to continue to ask questions and stuff. So like, so it appears that you have developed a foundation and methodologies. So like, this is a curious thing. So in your development process of that you take new ideas and products through. So when you're building something, or when you're building something, are you building it just to be building it, or So what's the analogy to being an entrepreneur in the lean stack, kind of the methodology that you use in the lean stack and the methodology that you use to build something?
Well, for me, to inspire me to actually build something, I have to know that there's going to be a return on investment first.
Okay, so you're thinking about that. You're saying when you come up with an idea or invention, you're thinking about the business model for that idea or invention.
100%, because it's pointless otherwise. I could spend all day just thinking up things, but when I come up with an idea, I'm like, okay, I gotta see if this is realistic. And then if it is realistic, and I define that realism from researching key terms from my idea. And I'll give you an example. Say the idea this is something I'm working on right now. I do not mind sharing it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start with a problem, because
I
came up with the idea started with the problem. Most of my ideas start with the problem. So again, move back to the lean canvas. So the problem is there has been a lot of active shooters going into schools. I'm sure we're all aware of that problem. There's been, police brutality on minorities. These are things plaguing the United States.
Yes.
This was brought to my attention by someone that introduced me to Carmen Wilsham Pennant. He's an incredible guy, by the way. Yes. And he was like, Bisa, we need something that alerts, that detects, and that will be in real time. That's all he gave me. That's it. So I sit down and I go, what does that? That's my first thought process.
Yeah.
And what does it look like? And how can it be comfortable? Does this go on the teacher? Does this go on the child? Can it? These are the things that I think about. And then again, we're doing the canvas, so I'm putting that down in problem. And then I add something, not solution. I'm not on solution yet.
Gotcha.
I actually add in idea, like problem, then idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go into, okay, ideas are cameras exist, that detect. Okay, you want to track and identify the shooter and all this stuff, facial recognition. Mm-hmm. Okay, you want to alert. You have text messaging, alerts. You have alarm system. You have all these things. So I put all that together. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then I go into the solution. Those are solutions. Mm-hmm. Then I figure the most logical solution, but I talk back with the client. So I say, I have these ideas. These are solutions, mm-hmm. And I let them determine. Now, if it's me, then I determine. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And then I see what solutions are already addressing this problem.
Yes.
So hold on one moment. I want to open something because I want to follow I'm on Lean Canvas, by the way. I want to follow it.
Okay.
So then I go into, competitors, essentially, because, who's working on this. And then after doing that, I do an Excel sheet. Mm-hmm. And I start putting in the practical information. So like these are cameras that solve it. And then I go into, these are cameras that are not manufactured yet. Because but you can prototype, of course, with existing camera. But I also define, where can I buy a camera from, like Tamron, and where can I get the lens from? So I put that down.
Yes.
All right. And then I look at costs. I'm like, whoa. Okay, camera, cost. And by the way, I'm thinking about cost. I'm thinking
Yes.
about cost at idea stage. I'm thinking
Okay.
about cost at solution stage. There should always be a session for cost. Cost
Yeah.
must always be in the back of your mind, because you need money to make things and you need money to keep a business. So that's important to be think about. So once I go from, okay, this is cost efficient, investors, for some reason, well, I know the reason. They love cost efficiency. And these days they love that if it's like sustainable, biodegradable, if it's a product, for instance. So you might want to think on all the things that the government or investors or whatever would approve of as you come up with your concept or idea. Then I go into, well, would they buy it? You know, nobody wants to wear a camera, but everybody wants to capture what a camera captures. It's kind of interesting. Like if you get pulled over the police, you're like, God, I wish I had a body cam on. However, you don't want to wear it, but how can I get you to wear it? So I start the part where you got customer segment. I do not just segment my customer as like teachers, police officers, all that. I see, okay, at this stage, how do I adopt the product to the customer? You know, how will they adopt it from me? I pretend I'm the customer, and I also talk to people. I'm starting to communicate hypothetically with to define early adopters, that part.
Yeah.
I've already defined my channels two different ways. I've defined the creation channel, and I've started to define the customer channel. So the channels, that's done. All right, revenue streams, that's already done. And the reason why I say that's done, because at this stage, by the way, we are in development as I'm talking. I do not do development after the canvas is defined. I do the prototyping as we work through the canvas. You always go back to your lean canvas model. Always go back to it.
Yes.
So at this stage, I start having my early adopters test and all this stuff, and I start refining the design, the look, make sure it meets the customer needs and interests. Because even if cool, I will. So I go from there. All right, I will remember that. Thank you.
Okay.
So yeah, I go from that, and once I do that, I move into defining the next step of this being a business. Like during this process, we've already got the end. We've got the end once we know it's going to be adopted. Bank account, the usual. I've got the projections, as well as the potential projections based upon the early adopters. Investors love that. I have my proof of concept at this stage. They love that as well. And then, hopefully you get your, I'm going to say this, and it might not be well received. It's important to have your own capital in the beginning. If you can, get money from family, friend, they all say that, but if that's never fun, because it's a risk. Remember that it's a risk, and if it doesn't work out, family and friends, and so try to have your own money. But if you can't, like I said, pay attention to it being cost efficient. As I mentioned, please pay attention to cost.
Yes.
And so you're gonna go from your startup, your seed funding, to your Series A, Series B, C. Sometimes you can get lucky a person that has experience with startups, who's had successful startups, and when they launch a startup, they're already at Series C, and they have multiple investments. Those everyone loves. That's what you hear about. However, that doesn't make the companies that receive like one investment any less. You know, so I press upon people, if you get denied investment, keep going. If your family does not support you, keep going. If you think it's a bad idea, test it. That's really
Yeah.
to a business.
Yeah. So, like, what do you think about? Because we run into a lot of people who have ideas or inventions, and they're so excited about them, but
Hmm.
they don't have any business model around that. So like, if you have an invention or you have an idea, what is it actually worth? You know.
That's
If,
why you have your phase of test and test. A lot of people think test is making it work. No, test is money. Test is,
Mhm.
will people adopt it? Will they buy it? Is it of help to the problem? If you properly define your problem, and if you properly done your research, that shouldn't be a problem. However, if it is, again, test, 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 test.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
by the way, there's a link that Mr. Richard has just shared. And in that link, it covers really my background. It covers a step process I take. In this instance, AI development, in terms of an AI website or AI ops, because I'm doing projects like that. I would like to touch, I know I got 10 minutes. I want to touch on three things. The first thing is this. I know a lot of people find this interesting, so I'm going to say it. I used to be the executive director at US Biolytica, which many people know it as Biolytica Global. It's an Australian based data science company. It's number 2 in the world for data science. It's a conglomerate, so there are 6 companies a part of Biolytica. Am I still a part of Biolytica? Only as a partner, not as executive director anymore. I resigned August 21st, 2021. They begged me to return. And I am still in good communication and connection to Biolytica. And yes, Biolytica is the National Information Center in KSA, and they are the leaders of the 2030 AI plan. So that also allows me to have good connection in artificial intelligence. In
Great. Great.
terms of Microtron is now based in Tampa, Florida. We are currently developing, as I mentioned, the camera, the civilian body cam. We are also developing a smart home automation system. It is called, well, you're gonna trip out. It's called Jarvis. And it has neural networking, machine learning, it's self-learning. It has visual recognition. It's just absolutely amazing. The goal is for it to be a cognitive operating system, and it is well on its way. I will be releasing demos to the software. There will be an available console and case for you to have this in your home, like Google HomePod or Amazon Echo.
Okay.
This is coming to the market this year. I will be releasing dates and information on my page. And yeah, and I'm looking forward to hopefully soon being a part of the T2M family. And
Okay.
I give a debt of gratitude to Mr. Lloyd Richard and to Carmen Dawson and also to Wilson Pennick. And of
Yes.
course, my incredible team that supported me to be here today. So thank you all.
Fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, we're definitely glad to have you. I kind of, started thinking when you said you worked at NASA. I worked on some projects at NASA. I said, well, you are a modern day Hidden Figures.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually pretty neat. Yeah.
Actually,
So
my internship ended today.
oh wow. Okay.
Yep.
Yes. Yes. So the audience, do you have any questions? But also, like you had said, you're open to consulting or helping other founders as well.
Yes, I'm open to teaching. I'm open to developing, designing. Of course, there's fee because again, I've learned. But I am, and some things, if I find passionate, and you're just someone that's just trying to get out there, I am here for you. I will, because if I believe in it, I know it's going to produce fruit. So
Mhm.
um, I know a lot of founders and a lot of investors, they won't take the time because of capital purposes, but I will at least get you on the right track. I'm joining the team. Indeed, I am. I look forward to seeing you in Tampa, Carmen, next month.
Okay. Yeah, we have. I'll be in Tampa next month to the Synapse conference, and so those of you all that got the email, um, there is Kakua Institute. Is a partner with Synapse, and so I think the conference is on the 28th of next month. And so in the newsletter, there's a link for the discount tickets, and there is a link for the discount booths where you can save like $1,750 off the booth costs, so, and you get VIP tickets and stuff like that. So have you ever checked out Synapse before?
No, but I would be happy to attend. I was
Yeah.
definitely going to attend the Rise conference because Vic Tipney's is a good friend of mine and
Mhm.
Max Willett. So I was going to attend that one. And the
Okay.
AI conference was recently here in December.
Gotcha. So have you connected with the Tampa Blacks in Technology? Um,
I
yeah.
looked into them, but I didn't sign up.
Okay. Gotcha.
I would be happy to though. Like
Yeah,
if
there's no fee to membership, but it's like a worldwide organization, got over 30,000 members, and they offer a lot of free programs, training programs, and discount programs, and we partner with them to do business model design training and a launch training. So yeah,
I'll
that's
reach
what
out.
yeah. So yeah.
Is there any way, there was something I received on here in the chat? Meta
Okay.
materials. I will look them up and
Yes. Yeah. So that.
Tony,
Yeah.
if you would sign up at jarvishomeautomation.com, if you make an account there, we can go all day about language models. I'll be turning my attention to AI tomorrow and probably into the weekend. But please, anyone wants to sign up there, be my guest. And when the demos and the tutorials, and we will, also give a video about the neural networking, the machine learning. I'm happy to do it. Yeah,
Yes.
shoot me a message in LinkedIn Messenger. You can message me on Instagram or WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Whatever
Yeah.
works.
And so so for the conference next month in Tampa, like so I'll make sure you get the link to the discounted if you want to have a booth for Jarvis or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and so if you do get a booth, you also get a VIP ticket plus 2 vendor tickets, and you can actually there are plenty money people there, investors, because it's just a connection of startup founders and investors.
Okay. Will you have a booth there?
Yeah. The Cocoon Institute will have a booth there, And yeah, for sure. And I'll reach out to.
Can you send me the link to
Yes.
the 10?
Yeah. So and you can I'll forward you our email. Then that way you will have the discount links and
Yes.
so you and stuff like that.
I
Yeah.
appreciate
So
it.
yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty needy event to go to. It's only one day, but and they have a VIP thing the night before, so you can kind of do some networking
Okay.
there.
Well,
Yeah.
I live here, so that's not a problem.
Yeah. So yeah, and so I'm hoping I can talk the foundation president of Blacks in Technology to get a booth there too. So so we can have we can all kind of be in the same area and get more Black folks involved in tech.
Yes, that is definitely my goal. Coming from a minority family, with a pretty vast estate, I would say the connections made at a family level also helped me a lot.
Yes.
Something that I didn't mention, I know we as minorities are focused on generational wealth. I want to
Yes.
press upon you that's extremely important. Please pour back into your family, your neighborhoods, your communities, because at the end of the day, home is where you come from. So,
Yes.
and it carries you in life. I would definitely say my background, my family last name, and much more has empowered me to be the person I am today.
Yeah, that legacy. Yeah, that legacy ancestry. Is important for sure. Yeah. So like one last thing before you go. So you mentioned that one accelerated program. So you did get a chance to participate in some startup programs and stuff.
Yes, two actually. I don't know if
Okay.
you heard of it. One is Techstars,
Yeah, we've heard of
and
that.
the
That they're
other
all.
was Opelika Auburn Accelerator. That's what they called it. It was named after the city. I'm sure you guys heard of Auburn University.
Do we have to hear about them? Oh, yeah, we know.
Yeah, but hey, I have to support Auburn because Auburn is heavily associated with my father's side of the family. My
Okay.
my grandfather was a Tuskegee Airman, and Tuskegee is very close to Auburn.
Yeah.
So I have to say nice things about Auburn.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a
Yeah.
Bulldogs fan, so I understand where y'all coming from.
Well, now, like, no, so like I'm a Florida Gator, and also since I grew up in Tallahassee, went to FAMU for a couple of years as well. But any last second takeaways you want to leave the folks in the audience?
Yeah, I would just say follow my journey, reach out to me, be a part of the journey. I'm open to being a part of your journey. I love to create and innovate. I would say it's my namesake. So, thank you all.
Fantastic. So glad to appreciate you coming on. If you hang on just a second, bye everyone out there. We appreciate you listening. Join in next week. Make sure you look at the link from the event. What's the link that your LinkedIn in that presentation? I believe so.
I think so.
Yeah, but it's easy. It's easy to find. Just type her name in there. Yeah, it'll pop up.
I'm verified.
Yeah. All righty. You all take care, and we'll see you all next week. Take care.
All right. Take care, guys. Thank you.